informed the decision to be the starting quarterback?
I guess just like the standard way, the head coach just calls you in and lets you know.
What do you think you can give this team as a starting quarterback?
Listen, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm just going to go out there and play my game and do the best I can to, elevate everybody and give them confidence and just do my thing like I have. I've already played a couple games this year, so I think everybody knows what to expect, and we can just roll right into it.
Shane said that this is not just one game. You're the quarterback moving forward. You're a veteran. You've been here, obviously played the game for a long time. What does that do for you, mentally, and just your confidence moving forward, knowing that you are the guy?
Well, listen, it's tough unless you've been through the situation. I want to say it's obvious, but it's probably tough to realize. But it is a lot easier to prepare when you know you're the guy. And even though you try to keep everything the same when you could be coming off the bench, just mindset wise. There's something that changes just that little bit. And, I think in terms of playing consistently after this, it's just I think it just gives everybody clarity, in the building and, and the guys on the team that they know what to expect, and you can kind of jump, you can just dive in and know what you're getting into.
Joe, obviously you're a pro and you've been through delicate situations before, but just how do you kind of navigate something like this with Anthony, a young quarterback, probably going through this for the first time?
Yeah, listen, you just come in. Everybody has the same goal when they come in this building, which is to win football games. So it stays the same. Listen, I think the thing we got to remember here is Anthony's really young. I think it would have been. I know that when I was that young, there's no chance that I would have been able to have the perspective and just the right head on my shoulders to handle it and take it the right way. Mm-hmm. But now, being, this my 17th year, I do have that perspective. So if you can kind of give any of that to him in terms of just, this doesn't have to be a negative thing. There's a lot of positives on his end that can come from this. Like I said, he's very young with a bright future, and there's plenty of guys that come into this league and don't play right away. Now, I know this is a little bit different because it feels like you're getting something taken away from you, and like I said, if I was as young as he was, there's no chance I would have taken it the right way right off the bat. But I do really believe there's a lot of positives. I mean, look, there's a bunch of guys around the league that haven't played right as they come in the league, or have gotten second or third chances as they've kind of matured and grown a little bit. And I think there's a lot of advantages of being able to remove yourself a little bit and watch from a distance and learn and do those things. And I think, I think that's probably, not to talk for the Colts and Shane, but you would think that's part of the thought process, at least a little bit, is to try to help him out.
How similar or different is this to the challenge last year in Cleveland, and how did that maybe, add to your experience to handle something like this?
Listen, ultimately, when I'm preparing to start football games, that is where I feel most comfortable. Even though I haven't consistently done that for the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years, it is where I feel most comfortable. Doing the other is kind of what I've had to get used to. So I think just as a general statement, this is where I feel at home. I think last year's situation is always going to be a little bit unique. I mean, this year at least, listen, I've been a part of this football team since the spring, and I've been able to go out there and practice and be a part of it and do all those things. And so I think there's a little bit of a different dynamic.
Have you spoken to Anthony at all? Or if you haven't, what would you, say to him? Would you give him space?
Yeah, just give him space. Listen, I think you treat it like a normal day, just like we normally would. And, I think as this goes on, then everybody will gain a little bit of a different perspective on it and be able to grow from it in some way.
How motivated are you to lead this team and get this team to the playoffs?
Oh, listen, I'm fired up, man. Anytime you get a chance to play football in this league, you have to, count yourself as blessed. And I really feel very fortunate to be with this team and be in this situation, and I'm excited to get it done.
Joe, can you speak to the difference in reps you would get as a backup versus starter? I know you mentioned that.
Yeah, man, this is the NFL. You don't get any reps when you're the backup. You get 0. You get scout team reps, which is fun. It's a lot of fun, but in terms of real reps and calling plays, that you go from 0 to 100. So it can definitely benefit.
Did you have any conversations with him about the tap out? And do you think that had anything to do with this decision?
I don't, and I didn't. Listen, I mean, he was in the heat of the moment in the game, and I think that's a situation that he looks back on and he'll grow from as well. But I don't think there was anything malicious in that. It just kind of one of those things that he'll grow from.
Being that this isn't a temporary move, how much extra work do you think it'll take for you and Shane to kind of implement the stuff that you really like to do moving forward?
That's one of those conversations where you just got to go out and play well, and then everybody just thinks you do it right away. Because it's honestly just a talking point, like that if you're not playing well, it's going to take 2 weeks, and if you do play well, then it just goes away. How did you do that so quickly? So I think it's just kind of up to us to go play our game and not really worry about that.
Joe, the one last thing on the tap out. I mean, it generated like a lot of conversation and debate. In the building, would you say it was a different reception than that? It doesn't sound like for you it was, at least.
I didn't realize that it was generating all that because you kind of come in here and you're in your own world and you don't pay attention to all that. And in the building, it felt like a normal Monday, normal Tuesday. So,
Joe, you were the franchise quarterback in Baltimore. Got supplanted. Obviously, you're in the spot now to start again. I guess you've been through it. How does Anthony, I guess, maybe not look at this like the end? I know he's young.
Yeah, I touched on that earlier. Like I said, it's tough, until you go through it yourself. I mean, you can listen to other people and try to see their perspective and have that help you throughout this process. But until you go through it on your own and really come out of that on the other side, it's not until then that you really see that. So, hopefully he hears this, and I think he's got it. Like I said, there's positives that can come from this. You grow in so many ways from little things like this that you think are setbacks, but really they're growth opportunities are going to propel you forward. So, listen, people can tell people that all day, and it never seems to really hit home until you just go through something like that yourself. Like, that's why doing hard things, like if you listen to people, do hard things. It'll help you grow in some way. You don't necessarily know how and why, but you do hard things, you put yourself in those situations, and you grow. Well, guess what? The NFL is a really hard business, and really hard decisions have to be made. And then as players and coaches, you have to go through those things, and you're kind of on your own to a certain extent. And the only thing that can come out of that is growth. You will grow in some way and become better because of it. So.
What do you think AR can?
Last
one. What do you think AR can just learn from you? Because that's what Shane was saying. You can sit back, learn from a veteran who's done it at a high level. What can he learn from you?
Listen, I think most people, like having kids, they learn by what they see. They learn from example. And sometimes when you have kids, you can point to bad examples and say, don't do that. But there's a lot of times also where you can just look at somebody that's doing things the right way and say, look at that. And I think there'll be things that you can pick up on both ways, but ultimately I think that's the thing that I can do is just go operate like I know how to operate, and you kind of just get that from being around guys that do it, a certain way.
All right, thanks.